What's up, Internet? It's Brandon here. We are back with episode 10 of Free2Play Weekly. This week will be a little bit different format. I've been listening to feedback, trying to figure out ways to format the content to maybe be a little less repetitive. I feel like in general, on the first 9 videos, I've been giving like a minute and a half to 2 minutes per game, and which makes those videos quite long, especially on weeks when we have 40 games to get through. And so this was an experimental episode, if you will, where I'll be trying to switch that up a little bit. So here's the format we're going to go for. So we'll have the top 4 games that will be a combination of games that I thought were fun to play, well made, and then also games that I feel like I can stream for a decent amount of time because they'll be in the spotlight vote. So the first 4 games covered will be what'll be in the spotlight vote each week. So it'll be easy to find those, when you're trying to decide what you want to vote for. And then honorable mentions will be games that were good, but maybe they're too short to do half hour to hour long stream on, or maybe they one of the games for this week, for example, it's a good game I thought, but it had really long queue times, and so like trying to fill 6 minutes of sitting in queue on a live stream is not easy. So it doesn't really make sense from a spotlight game, but it was a game that I felt like was well made and was fun, and is something I wanted to call out a little bit more in depth. Then we'll have quick hits, which is basically all the other games released this week. I'll keep those to under 30 seconds. It'll be kind of an elevator pitch. Here's what the game's about. And maybe like 1 or 2 snippets of like my opinion or things I found while playing that I feel will be useful. And then I'll call out the clickers in their own little segment that we'll see how that kind of ends up turning out. I have an idea. I think it might be fun, but it might be a little too what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, cheesy or something. So we'll do that, and then as always, I'll mention the games that I didn't play, the VR games, and if there's any visual novels that were released that I didn't play. So that having been said, we'll try it out. We'll get feedback. We'll continue to adjust. It's crazy to think it's already episode 10. It doesn't feel like it's been 10 weeks since I've started this series. And yeah, looking forward to seeing how this goes and getting feedback and trying to determine if this format will kind of work out going forward. So let's dive in. The first spotlight option for this week is Wheelborn. This is a game where you play a car that can attack, and you are in a cave with your mother, is what you call her, and you go out and attack all these other cars that are wild. They're called wildlings, I believe, and the goal is to acquire their wheels and bring them back to mother so that she can grow this new peaceful version of wildlings. There's a lot of moral discussions that go on in this game around like, who are you to decide that you should be killing these wildlings and making your own and whatnot? And you have to decide if you're going to be like, oh, hey, you're right, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Or if you're like, no, mom knows best, I gotta do what I gotta do. The combat was pretty fun. I liked the climbing aspect. So there's a couple portions of the map where you have to jump your way up to different platforms and find different things. I talked to one character and they were like, there's a gold ball that'll unlock the door to see what's really there, or something along those lines. And I found the gold ball by accident and was super excited, and then I knocked it off a cliff. So I don't I don't know if that door will never open now, or if I need to like go back to where I found it and maybe it respawned, but hopefully the door is not lost forever. So yeah, so that was fun. It's a cool game to play. There's a couple different car options, so you can pick different play styles. You can play like super tanky. You can play, super fast. There's I think a climbing car, which I don't know what that means. Like if it can just drive up walls or something. And so there are a couple different options for playstyles. As you collect resources and wheels, you can go back to Mother and turn them in, and she upgrades this little internal city that she's developing. And so there's a gameplay arc to keep leveling up what you're building within the cave, but also as you're meeting other people, maybe you decide that that doesn't make sense. There's like a main bad guy character called the Dark Shaman who you can go to and request powers. So that's something I didn't do in my playthrough yet, but that is an option that's out there as well. So yeah, so I thought it was a good game and fun to play, and I thought it might be a fun option for a spotlight for this week. So that's Wheelborn. Option 2 for this week's spotlight is Creamare, which I believe is a combination of creature and nightmare, potentially. This game starts off as you visiting a museum exhibit, which I thought was nice. As people who have been with this channel for a while know, I really liked the one museum simulation game that I'd played early on in the series, and so it was nice walking around reading about different shipwrecks and underwater artifacts that were around, and then the game kind of morphs into this. You get attacked. There's like a creature that attacks the museum, and then you personally are saved by a robot who's from the future, and they're like, we need to go save the Earth by cleaning up the mess left behind in the oceans and doing things to make the oceans better. The messaging is good in terms of preserving oceans and stuff. I felt like the diving was really smooth. I went above. Whenever you go above water, this game does not like it. So I don't recommend doing that. I think in my playthrough, I got kind of stuck. I couldn't find what I was supposed to do. Like I was supposed to save something from a net. And like I was in the mission area just like circling laps and could never find it. But I did enter the mission area incorrectly. I found out while I was kind of exploring around. I went like up over the wall of trash, which I don't think I was supposed to be able to do. So I'm gonna try if this is selected for a spotlight, I'm gonna try going into that mission area the proper way, and hopefully it's apparent where this thing that I need to save from a net is. But yeah, the diving aspect is really cool. I think that there's a lot of potential with this game. I just got kind of stuck in the playthrough I had. So that is Creamare. Option number 3 for this week is Until the Last Plane 1942. In this game, you control 2 different planes using a controller, and one is the right stick and one is the left stick. I felt like this game was a lot of fun. You dodge back and forth and trying to keep track of which one's the left and right planes, so you're steering them in the right direction can be a little difficult. As you level up, you get to select bonuses for your planes, so you can add additional guns, you can increase fire rate, you can increase lives, and there's also different planes you can select from to play with. So you can be like, all right, I'm going heavy firepower, 1 life to live plane, or you can go kind of a balanced plane, or you can be like, I need all the lives I can get. I'm going to run into stuff. I'm not very good at flying, which I think is more what I went for in my playthrough, was a little bit more forgiveness, if you will, when it comes to the combat side of things. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and you just complete stages as you go. And so I feel like it could be a fun game to kind of sit down and play together to, see how far we can get and how many stages we can clear without getting defeated in the game. But yeah, it's good. You have to have a controller, I believe, because you're controlling 2 people at the same time, and so having that the 2 joysticks and then being able to use kind of the R and L buttons to launch bombs and other things was beneficial. But it was a cool game. It was a lot of fun. I think it's very well made. The only gripe I have with this game is I couldn't like close it. Like I closed it, but it didn't close. I had to like task kill it. So I don't know if it's like shut down, got caught or hung up or something. But otherwise, it's a lot of fun. The fourth spotlight option this week is a game called Tribe 9. This game is RPG-esque. It has some gacha elements where you unlock these, containers to gain new people that you can play with. I felt like the intro to this game was phenomenal. I really enjoyed playing through it. I feel like the tutorial was very well paced. They did a good job introducing new concepts. Like even the menu is something that gets revealed over time as you advance through the game, and I feel like that's a good way to keep you from being overwhelmed with this style of game because there can be, a lot to kind of dig into, and so keeping you kind of limited down as you progress through, I think makes sense. The the intro area is very interesting. The mechanic they use of introducing you to the character in the game, where he's, you're basically stuck in a simulation, and your friends show up to break you out of it, but you don't know you're in a simulation, and there's like almost like flashbacks of sorts that you're dealing with. Of, am I real? Is this my life? What's going on here? Type stuff. The combat was kind of cool. So it goes into it's a 2D RPG esque map style, but then when you go into battles, it takes you into like a 3D arena where you're attacking with your weapons, and you can use hotkeys to pull your teammates in to your battles with you. And so it's very unique. The whole game feels very unique. It has some negative reviews on Steam, but I think most of that is due to the gacha system, and it, based on the reviews I read, just has a slower drop rate. But in terms of the game itself, I think it is well done, and it seems like it would be a lot of fun to play through. So that is Tribe 9. For honorable mentions, I had Magic in Prologue, which was a prologue to a full game that will launch in for early access in April. The full game won't be free, I believe, given wording around the price of the game. So that's why I didn't include the prologue in the options for the spotlight, but it was fun to play. It's an in-management game that has some mini games to create dishes, and there's a system they created of generating regulars where you're kind of driving traffic into your business by establishing relationships with people in the village, which I think was pretty cool. There's also, buying and selling goods to make sure that you have all the ingredients needed to open the inn each week or each day. And I think it's a game that'll be really cool, but the final game won't be free to play. So the prologue's out there if you want to check it out before the game is released in April. Dying Sun is another cool game that came out this week for free. It is a controller required surfing game where you just kind of surf your way through an environment. The game world for this game is very beautiful. I really liked playing it. It is not a very long game or experience. I think it took all of 5 minutes to play through, but it was very well made and it was very relaxing to play. So I put it in honorable mentions for those reasons. Shotball is a Rocket League style game, but instead of being with cars, it's a third person shooter with character abilities. The person who I played as had some shields, so he was good for like playing goalie and trying to deflect balls away from the goal. And then his ultimate was like a big fan that would blow the ball away from you. The one downside to this game so far that I've experienced is the queue times are a little long. I think the one that I played took 5 to 6 minutes to get into a game, which is just a long time to try to queue into something. But if you're doing something else on the side while you're waiting in queue, I mean, the gameplay itself was fun. Like I said, I played goalie, so it wasn't too much crazy action for me, but it was enjoyable to sit back and play goalie, which is what I do in Rocket League too. So, um, pretty cool idea for a game. I think it's well executed, and hopefully it'll see its player base grow. And the final honorable mention goes to Welcome Home, which is a horror game, which I'm surprised I'm putting here because I don't like horror games, but I feel like the art style for this game is very unique. In it, you are at a cult retreat that you're being asked to help them prepare for their festival. It feels very Midsommar-esque in terms of, they seem nice and then they slowly seem creepy and then they slowly seem evil. Um, and so, yeah, so it's trying to figure out how you're going to escape from the location before this festival really kicks in, because the assumption from the player is that they will not survive said festival. Um, there's some good foreshadowing and like clues you can find that let you know that this is a bad place to be. And like I said, I thought the art style was kind of unique and enjoyed this game. Okay, time for quick hits. Take Care of Me is a puzzle escape the room style game where I tried to set the table while being badgered the whole time. Ocean Otter Climb is a puzzle platformer where you have to use water to propel yourself up into the air, and I felt it was pretty difficult. The Nutcracker of Repass was a JRPG with dynamic combat but some adult content in the story. Grandpa Bread Adventure is a temple run style game where you collect coins and manage your stamina, sanity, and hunger. Take the bus. Deep Siege is a wave-based first-person shooter where if you earn kill streaks, you can heal yourself with your ability. Try to last as many waves as you can. Lottery World is a gambling game where you can play guess the suit of the next card, or if you find a friend to play against, you can play rock, paper, scissors with high stakes. Pokerist is a casino game. The poker seemed fine. It had the typical problem of when you're not playing for real money, people go all in constantly, but the gameplay was smooth. Defend the Vault is a simple shooting game where you defend from incoming enemies. There was no scaling of difficulties, so once you master the timing, you can kind of go for a while. Requiem of Dread felt like a bullet hell with no bullets. It was very difficult to dodge all the enemies, and they took a while to defeat each one, so it was hard to clear the map. Mage at Stake was an arena wave-based shooter. You have a few abilities. There's chests you can open with gems, and you can also revive bats to fight alongside you. Shrimp Keeping Simulator, you buy shrimp and sell shrimp by having them reproduce over time. I recommend running a fast time multiplier to get the game advancing. Eye on You is a game where you play a guard watching inmates to make sure they don't escape. Try to move back to the center after each person because they're always going to be trying to escape. Tome of Fates is a text-based game. There was combat, but it was difficult to navigate. So overall, I would think of this as a story-based game instead of an action-based game. Arithmetic is a nice little math puzzler. You do not need to use all the bubbles to complete a level, and operations are executed top to bottom, left to right, not from your point of genesis pushing forward. Magic Puzzle King 2 Rolling Cat is a game where you piece back together things broken by the cat who is knocking them off of shelves. Terra Firma is a simulation game where you create land areas and let time dictate how they progress. And now clickers. So you can click with this, apartment filled with cats, or you can click with that, dookie clicker, or you can click with this, where's my kitty, or you can click with that, strawberry, or you can click with this, Eggman, and that's that. For Unplayed games, there was Astrohound VR, which is described as become the Astrohound. Play as Howard, a man who can project himself into the astral plane as he traverses the astral realm to find and rescue Allie, who has been kidnapped by a supernatural organization, Bio. 19th Century Printing Press Experience VR is another VR game described as a hands-on educational experience that guides you through the process of printing on a 19th century printing press. And Gladiator Rumble is a Twitch integration game where your audience transforms into fierce gladiators ready to fight for glory in the ultimate Twitch integrated battle simulator. And that's episode 10. Like I said, we're changing some stuff up this week, trying to integrate some feedback, trying some new things, trying to condense stuff a little bit. So let me know in the comments if you thought that it was better, things you liked, things you didn't, so we can continue to improve. And I appreciate everyone, being here and the feedback everyone gives me. It's been, nice having such a vocal community, especially so early in this channel. And so, yeah, I appreciate it, and I'll see everyone on Thursday for the spotlight.